Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for stopping by. Hey, as you can tell, I'm in the barn right now, but today's video is going to be kind of odd. Don't know if we'll get into any splitting. I'm hoping to get into some cutting, but we are trying to get stuff finished up outside for the winter. We live in a pretty heavily wooded area, as you've probably noticed from the videos. And we're going to try and get some mulch, or mulch up the rest of the leaves that are on the yard today. So me and the wife are going to tag team that on 0 turns and see what we can't get done. So we're going to start out doing that. And then I'm going to try and get out with the 025 and shorten up some of the hickory pieces that are out there in the wood yard. And then we have chains to sharpen. So hopefully y'all stick with me, and right now we're gonna go climb on a mower. The missus is already coming by on one, so I better go get caught up. Stick with us. Well, windrowing with the 0 turn sure makes it easy to get the leaves off the yard. It's not perfect, but living here in the woods, we don't get too carried away with the leaves anyways. We have several oak trees, and the oaks, if anybody else has oaks, you'll know a lot of times they don't lose all their leaves till spring. So we don't get real carried away because we know that we're going to have to do leaf cleanup again in the spring. So we try to get the majority of them up off the yard just so that it doesn't kill the grass in the spring, or we have bald spots. Honestly, the yard doesn't get enough sunlight other than up around the house to have good grass. So down here by the barn where I'm at right now and along the annex, it is just so shaded. The grass is very thin and real spotty. So we've tried, I don't know, dozens of different grass seeds that are supposed to be for shaded areas and stuff like that, and tried overseeding with that, and it just doesn't work out well here. I honestly think it just does not get enough light when the leaves are got full canopy. So anyway, I'm gonna grab the 025. We're gonna head to the wood yard. I'm gonna shorten up them few pieces of wood while I still have some daylight, and by that time it'll probably be dark. So I'm gonna go inside. I got, I don't know, 4 or 5 chains I gotta sharpen, and we'll get that knocked out. So let's get after it. Well, that wasn't very much cutting, but I will say this, it gave me a chance to run a chainsaw that I haven't ran for a while. I haven't ran any chainsaws for a while, so that was kind of nice. But some of this ugly stuff that we cut up, we're gonna throw onto the boiler pile, and then some of this other stuff we can run through the splitter a little easier now. And then there's quite a bit of cookies and butt ends out here. We'll knock them apart and throw them in my chunk bin, and we'll dispose of them either in a boiler, or I'll burn them in the potbelly stove at the blacksmith shop, so next winter. So anyway, I'm gonna get stuff hauled back to the barn. I got a few things out in the yard I'm gonna put away, and then we're going to get around and get those chains sharpened. I will say this, the 025, for being a little residential saw, that thing has always been a trooper. If you folks are new to the channel, because I've gotten quite a few new subscribers over the last couple of months, that 025 is the first steel chainsaw I ever got. I've had that saw since December of 2001. So, and up until like 2014, that was my main chainsaw. Until I got my 290, and then in the 290, I will say I don't run very much power and stuff. I would just as soon run the 025 versus that 290. I pretty much keep my 290 around anymore just for letting friends and the neighbors borrow it if they need a spare saw or an extra saw or a saw in general. That's kind of my loaner saw, so I don't like giving any of my big stuff out. So, but if somebody needs that around here around the house, like I said, I will loan that to friends and the neighbors and such. So anyways, I'm gonna go get stuff put up, and then we will get to the barn because we are running out of daylight fast. All right, as you can see, we are in the barn. I got all my stuff put away. I even got a load of firewood hauled up to the porch and filled up my wood rack up there. The end of this week is supposed to be in the 20s, so I wanted to make sure that was full. But I had I don't know, there's what, five chains here. Had dropped off yesterday, and asked to clean them up and touch them up, get them nice and sharp for them. And so I am going to use my Oregon 520-120 electric grinder to sharpen these chains. Now, I will say this, I generally, when I sharpen chains, even on this, I don't take the time to swap the wheel out to cut the rakers or the depth gauges back. I will actually go through while it's still in the vise here on the grinder, and I still use a hand file to file the rakers down. I think it's a pain in the butt to swap the wheel out. Pretty much the only time I change the wheel out on the grinder, other than if it gets wore out, is if I got to do a 404 chain. The wheel that's on here will do 3/8 and 3/25 just fine. So I pretty much just run that wheel all the time on there, and just saves me from having to swap stuff around. One thing I have been using, I got this piece of information, I can't even tell you, it's probably been a year or so ago, but I'd ordered this after watching a video from Heath at Hardworking Man. He was using this Cool Grind from Granberg on his Dremel bit when he was sharpening chains. I've been using it here and there. In all honesty, I haven't noticed a whole lot of difference in it actually, how it affects the chain or anything. But since I have it, I've been trying to use it when I'm sharpening. But like I said, so far on the stone grinder, or on this stone wheel, I haven't noticed a lot of difference in the chains. But I've been trying to pay more attention to it on my chains when I grind them. The only thing I think a place where it would come in really handy from what I've seen thus far is if you're a guy that just buries into a chain. Well, if you're using this style grinder, it would probably help there. But if you watch, I don't hog on the chain. I take as light a cut as I can, and then I work the grinder up and down to where I'm not putting hot spots in the chain. I'm trying to keep that tooth as cool as I can on that chain. So I don't know how much this helps. The biggest thing I've noticed is it doesn't seem like I have to dress the wheel quite as often. So it's almost like this helps prevent the wheel from loading up as you're grinding. I will say I have noticed that. But other than that, I haven't seen that it really has helped me out on the chain thus far. But for no more than it costs, if it does prolong the life of the wheel, which I'll find out because I've been using it pretty regular when I've been using this wheel that's on here now. And we'll kind of see what it does. And if it prolongs the life of the grinding wheel, it'll be worth it. I don't remember what I paid for this stuff. It wasn't very expensive. And yeah, I wish I could tell you more, but so far that's my opinion of it. But anyways, I'm gonna shut up. We're gonna get to sharpening because I got to get this done. So let's go. Okay, so I got all the chains sharpened, and I started to touch up the rakers while they were still on the chain grinder. But with having that many chains to do, I decided to go about it a little different way. So I'm going to take one of my spare 3/8 bars. I'm just going to clamp it in a vise, kind of light like. And then I'm going to set the chains on the bar like it would be on the saw, and I'm going to go through them and touch up the rakers that way, just because I have so many to do. This is a lot more open and easier to access than it is on the grinder, so I'm going to do it this way and try and speed the process up a little bit. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up here. You kind of got an idea how I'm using this spare bar to finish off doing the rakers. And I will tell you, it's already going a whole lot faster than it does doing it on the grinder this way. There's just a lot more space, and I can do multiple rakers before I have to advance the chain, which is kind of nice. The only thing I have to remember is on this, I didn't do it on the one that was on video, but you got to remember to roll the chain backwards because there's no sprocket on the back of the bar. So it kind of hangs up if you try to advance it and you're not paying attention. So I am rolling the chain across the bar backwards. That way it stays in the sprocket on the front of the bar, but doesn't get hung up on the back of the bar. The day this video is coming out on Tuesday is the week of Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So I do want to tell everybody that's watching to have a happy Thanksgiving here in the U.S. Hope you all get to take some time and hang out and with friends and family, and hopefully burn a little of that wood that you've been splitting and hanging out by the fire. I know that's one of the things we're planning on doing Thursday. So one other thing I want to tell you about, myself and my good friend Mark, the guy that I haul the boiler wood to, Mark and myself have started a podcast that's kind of going over, it's all skilled trades related. Me and Mark both work in the trades. I myself am a full-time welder. Mark is a mobile heavy equipment mechanic. And so we've got a few episodes out now. Unfortunately, it hasn't got approved by Apple yet, so it's not out on Apple Podcasts, but it's pretty much any place else that you'll listen to a audio-only podcast. The podcast is called a BS podcast, and I'll put a link to it in the description of the video if anybody's interested in hearing what we got to say. I'll be honest, it's just me and Mark kind of goofing around and babbling on about whatever's going on with us at work, or work related. And we do actually have one episode up where I interviewed a good friend of mine who is a railroad engineer, and he kind of tells his history of how he went from being a mechanic to actually being a railroad engineer. So if it's something you might like to check out, I'd greatly appreciate it if you did. And like I said, I'll leave the info for that in the description box for the video. So once again, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Hope you all have a good week. Hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you soon.